This is Linuxfx 11. I thought of the consumers that this distro might be targeted for. Well, it is not for an average Linux user, but those who want to make a transition to Linux, but with not a huge leap. Linuxfx provides a strikingly similar desktop experience to Windows 11, runs Windows executables, and even has support for Android apps, all for $35. That is around 2,900 rupees, while Windows 11 costs 16,515 rupees. That is around 199 USD. There is a version of Windows 11 available at 3,000 rupees on Flipkart, though I don't know about that. But remember, Windows 11 is a free upgrade for older versions of Windows, from and after Windows 7, probably. Back to Linuxfx 11. There is a free trial for 30 days available where all the features would work. I did a thorough testing of their claims and...
Nah, can't do it, bro.
Remembering their consumers would be the new adopters of Linux who don't know a lot about Linux system, I downloaded a fairly old version of Office to try on Office 2016. And it is Wine, as expected. They're using Wine to run Windows apps, and it is not the best method available out there. Stick till the end to know more about this. The installation was looking pretty good, but then disaster struck. Cancelled. Well, I tried Illustrator, which won't open. Since the version is less than Windows 10, I changed it in Wine config, but then the installer won't run at all. Then I went for Photoshop. Same problem. Next, I went for a video editor. Filmora, in this case. I had the Filmora 11 package, which thankfully installed, but then was unexpectedly laggy and finally had problems with registration and the app closed altogether. Might be I am the one making the mistake, so I installed Filmora 12 after downloading the online installer from the official website. But then again, the same issue. Well, they are lying, aren't they? Not at all. It can run executables, but executables like Notepad++ runs out of the box. But what will I do with Notepad++? It is very much replaceable by tons of Linux applications. Don't get me wrong, Wine can handle complex apps like Office, Photoshop, or even Windows games, but there are some internal tweakings need to be done before the installation, which I am pretty sure that the consumers are not paying for who just want to get their work done. Well, there are a ton of Linux alternatives. Yes, there are, but switching their entire workflow is difficult. Trust me, I had been there. Switching from one document writer or document editor to the other is very easy and simple. Obviously, that can be done. But a switch from one video editor or compositor to the other is often very difficult, since each one of them have their own separate learning curve. Next comes Android apps. Well, it downloaded an image of PrimeOS, then it created a virtual disk for PrimeOS. Wait, it is creating a virtual machine, isn't it? Which again failed to start, which is okay, since I'm running this inside a VM because it just won't boot on bare metal, however hard I try. Okay, anyway, so I thought that why not close all the tabs and everything that are open here, and let me see what is there in the distro other than that. Here we have the internet connections area, which is basically using the same KDE settings that you can get. Here we have the system tray of KDE, which is getting used. We have networks, devices, Bluetooth, and let me see if it can remember the resizing or not. So you can resize this, and again click here, it will remember the resizing that you're doing. So it's based on a modern version of KDE Plasma. So let's see the version of Plasma that they are providing. It took a lot of time to open. Okay, so system, go to about. The dark theme does not work properly. The icons are not visible here. Anyway. So yes, we are using the free edition. And okay, due to some reason it is not showing the version of KDE that is installed. Let's open the terminal. Let me close some of the applications that are open in the background. And if you see something that whenever I launch an application from here, it does not show that this is running. Instead, it creates a separate instance of that same application, which starts running there. So I don't know what is the reason for that. So let me just quit Dolphin. And for the terminal, they are providing console, which is great. But again, One thing, if you have noticed there, okay, first let us see the version. So if we have Neofetch, we will get to understand. It's using Linuxfx, and we have Plasma 5.26.3, which is running, and it's using Willow Light Blur with Plasma, and the icons are Win11. That's the only change I can find here. So if you apply these two themes on a system, pretty much most of the things will look like the way it is looking here right now, including the desktop if you provide the Windows 11 desktop, and move all the icons to the center alignment. Here we can show some alternatives that are there, and okay, there are menu X, there is menu Z installed. Let's see what is there in menu X. This is how it looks. This is menu Z. We also have weather report. You can set the location of weather report, so choose it from here, search for a place, apply, okay, and you will be able to see the weather. Okay, now there is also the Linuxfx store, which is basically Discover. Now if you open an application, I don't know what is the reason for that, but if I click on an icon, there is a separate instance of that same application launching in the site. So that is very weird. Also, the title bars are weirdly transparent, whereas the sidebar and the menu bar are having a nice blur in the background. I guess they could have kept it consistent with the background blur that is happening in the menu and this part in the sidebar, but I don't know what is the reason for doing that. Anyway, we can hop into settings and figure out some changes if it is possible from there. So let's open system settings and get rid of Dolphin and Discover. Okay, and if you see that the dark mode doesn't work properly here, all the icons are not looking nice, so that is a problem there. Let's go to customization. It's using the dark mode if I'm not wrong. Okay, still has the same problem. Let's get back to the customization tab. We are already there, so we can choose color, highlight color. Okay, just put KDE setting center over there. It's very weird to have such sub windows popping up out of nowhere. So we are currently using Willow Dark Blur, nice, and for window decorations we are using Willow Dark Blur again. Okay, but then there are also other versions of this installed, such as the V10X OS Dark theme. There is also the V10X OS Light theme. So let's see what if we switch that. This is how it will look. I guess I will stick to the previous version. But there is also Lightly. So there are a bunch of themes that are installed, but they look very much similar to one another. For example, if we go for the V10X OS Dark, it has a similar button arrangement, but the icons are a bit larger here. So Willow Dark Blur, but there is no blurring. Here are the settings. You can choose the button sizes as you can choose in KDE, obviously. Get rid of that. Here are the themes and icons that are getting used. So here are the icons. Okay, I guess Win11 Black Dark would go with the current dark theme, but unfortunately it is using the light version of the theme, which is causing the problems. So let me just apply this and let me see if there are any changes. No, they look the same. Might be setting is just fetching the icons from a different place. That is also possible. There is a separate page for Linuxfx update, just like Windows update that we have. So you can check for updates from there. You can pause updates. You can go for update history. Okay. Clicking check for updates will launch Discover. It cannot automatically check updates inside the app itself. So it provides a more like a visual overhaul rather than serving a purpose. Anyway, there is a system tabs. You can go for the Linux FX is not activated, so you can click verify and activate by entering a product key. You need to buy a license for that. Then you have sounds, which if you click will launch some other application for sound management. Display will launch its KDE counterpart for display. Notifications will launch another window for notification. On or off will launch something else. This one is like a kind of launcher. If you click on anything, it will launch a different application to serve that purpose. It has no relation to the design that is followed here, does not follow the design here, because obviously this is using the default KDE design, whatever they go for, which looks very much like the one that we get in the default settings of KDE. For example, inside display configuration, the same thing we get there in KDE system settings itself. So it's following the one that is consistent over there instead of the one that is having here the rounded corners, the main part of Windows 11 overhaul, the main significance of that. So which is a kind of disappointment. Anyway, let us see what are the other applications that they have provided. Due to some reason, search has disappeared, apparently, the logo. I don't know why. It was here all this while, but now it's gone. So if we click that, it launches this search application. I guess this is Albert Launcher, if I'm not wrong. So no, sorry, this is U Launcher. Yeah, so this is U Launcher. And let us search for applications like Teams. You have Microsoft Teams Preview. If you go for Steam, there is Steam. So it does work properly. Then let us see what are the applications that they have installed. We have a chat application. If we click that, it does nothing, or it's launching Teams. Okay, Discover Elisa is there. We have emoji selector, and then this is a virtual assistant, apparently. So it serves the purpose for Cortana. So Helloa can execute voice commands. To be able to do internet searches by voice commands, you need to connect Helloa to your Google account. Teams is messing around in the background. I don't know why. Closed it just now. You need to connect to the Helloa to your Google account. You can do this by connect with Helloa. And there is a list of commands. Nemo opens the file manager. File manager opens the file manager. But I don't think Nemo is the default file manager here. That is for Cinnamon based desktop. So they have not even updated that for the OKGhoul. OKGhoul will activate that. That is weird. Anyway, there is control will open the control panel. So it's a very basic virtual assistant. Better to quit it. Let us see some other applications. We have Google Chrome. We have GwenView. Okay. HTOP is installed by default. Then we have some KDE applications like Calc, Kate, KDE Connect is installed by default, which is good. Kmail is there. And let me show you one thing. If we go to settings, system settings, and head over to customization, inside themes and icons, see the default layout is Kubuntu. So this is just a themed version of Kubuntu. So if you go for desktop and window layout and apply this whole thing, it's basically Kubuntu inside. So this is how it will look like. Yeah. All those Windows 11 things are gone. So let's open system settings, get back to customization. Let's see the default dark theme and apply it. Themes and icons, Linuxfx dark, apply. Okay. The taskbar position does not change. We have to manually enter edit mode to change that. Okay, let it be like this. You don't have any problem. After all, it is using the KDE, right? So yeah. Okay, fine. Then we have Google Chrome installed, and along with Google Chrome, we also have Microsoft Edge that is there already installed along with Google Chrome. So that is also another thing. And Elisa is a media player. So yeah, it's a media player. Then we have Cheese for taking screenshots. Discover was already talked about. Let's see what's there in emoji selector. Basically shows you all the emojis that are there. And Gambus 3. What does that has to offer? Gambus is a graphical development environment based on advanced basic interpreter. Aims at enabling you to make powerful programs easily and quickly, but clean programs remain on your own responsibility. enjoy it. Okay, it's for application development, I guess. Okay, that is installed by default. Then we have find, yeah, for finding stuff. We have image magic, info center. Let's see what's there in info center. Okay, this is the place I was searching previously, which shows everything, all the informations, like KDE Plasma version, Plasma Frameworks version, Qt version, and all of them together in one place. Also, it has this serial number option, which can also be shown. Now, there is the application system monitor, which probably will serve as an alternative for the task manager. Obviously, it's the default system manager by KDE. The CPU usage is kind of low, but it jumps up rapidly to around 8 or near about 10% due to some reason sometimes, and then again jumps back to near about 0. This was, however, not the case in KDE Neon, and this is not a live environment that is running. It is using 1.8 gigabytes of RAM instead of and KDE Neon in its live environment was using around 1.6, which after installation would have used much lesser of the RAM that it was using. So that is something you can consider. And this is the amount of disk space which has been already used. Okay, so where is this going? Now, personally, I think that this is going nowhere, because I thought that at least they would be providing some level of good experience with Windows applications, because Wine is often not very easy to set up. It kind of sometimes get tricky. It's okay with simple applications, obviously. For example, Notepad++. If you now head over to the website to Notepad++ and download the application, it will run just like a normal application. You won't have any problem. But it's a Notepad, right? You have a lot of alternatives to Notepad in Windows, in Linux itself. So download the installer. So that's not a problem with Notepad. But the problem here is with other applications where you don't have a very similar alternative. For example, if you want to run After Effects here, it is not possible. For example, we have already seen with Photoshop and Illustrator, both of them could not install. So obviously, I am guessing that After Effects would be failed for installation. See, installation is done. You run Notepad++, it's the latest version. It opens up fine, runs fine, right? Also, if you want to install Filmora, so that also becomes a problem. So I'm not talking that there are no good alternatives in Linux. For example, you have the DaVinci Resolve, which is a great video editor. You also have KDN Live. These are some video editors available in Linux itself. But however, if someone is working with a Premiere Pro or with some, for example, Filmora, someone is a starter working with Filmora, and if he thinks of switching to Linux as his default desktop experience operating system, he won't be able to switch because of that same problem. That is, you can't get Filmora on Linux, right? And if you try to get Filmora, whatever we have done here, it runs up fine, but as you have seen there, that there is that problem happening. You don't get to, there are some license related problems that are appearing on the screen. Also, the user interface is not completely fine, and it takes a much longer amount of time to open up, obviously. So these problems that were there already with Wine are not getting solved with Linuxfx itself. You can't run most of the Windows applications out of the box. And check this out, there is a problem with validating your Filmora account or license. Please relaunch Filmora and try again. So we click OK and the entire application exits. But for Android, we had a project, if we remember, that is Anbox. I don't know if it is up and running now or not, but can run Android applications pretty well. I had tried before. Yeah, it sometimes gets into some problems, but pretty much does the work with Anbox. So I guess it will be a much better option if you just download QEMU KVM and then install Prime OS inside that, or any other Android operating system. You get a lot of Android x86 project is also there. You can go for that. You can install it in your system and use it very easily. Or for Windows applications also, I have personally run Windows inside QEMU KVM. It runs very nice, very nice. What I did is that I took the inside this computer itself, I just connected the GPU, specifically assigned the GPU to the virtual machine. So the GPU was being completely used by my Windows, which was inside the virtual machine of QEMU KVM, and the Linux that was there, it did not have access to the GPU. So I pretty much rendered After Effects projects, I did video editing inside the virtual machine, and it was a superb experience. It did not feel that I was using it from a virtual machine at all. It was completely a very smooth experience with that. Anyway, I don't know where this is going, but what are your thoughts? Do write them in the comment section, and I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching. Do like, share and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.